My name is Don Ford, and I drive a 2008 Ford Mustang Bullitt. Why a Bullitt Mustang? Well, even though I've really been a big fan of Mustangs for a long time, I think my true love affair with Mustangs happened when I was 12, and my dad showed me the cop thriller Bullitt, which is a film from 1968 that stars Steve McQueen. And in that film, it's famous for a car chase, and the chase had a 1968 Ford Mustang that was driven by Steve McQueen chasing bad guys in a black Dodge Charger. The Mustang in that film, in Bullitt, made a huge impression on me, and it was kind of to the point of obsession, because all throughout when I was a kid, I would draw pictures. So I would draw pictures of like the movie scene of the car sailing through the air over the hills in San Francisco, and then I built model kits when I was a kid, and then even now I have the poster of the film in my living room. In 2001, I was pretty thrilled because Ford came out with a Bullitt Edition Mustang. That was the first one that they came out with. And then in 2008, which coincided with the 40th anniversary of the film, they came out with a new version, and that one I actually went and saw at the Chicago Auto Show. And I went there with my dad and my brother. We stood there and looked at this car going around and around and around for probably like a half hour. And I don't know, ever since I was like, someday I want to have that car. Probably my favorite part of the car is the exhaust. I just have respect for it because Ford, they engineered it to sound like the movie soundtrack. I grew up learning about life in the garage. It was a place where I spent a lot of time with my dad, and a lot of the lessons I learned were through working with him on things, working on cars and machines. I wouldn't call my dad a mechanic, but he was mechanically inclined. And there was a show we used to watch back in the 90s called The Shade Tree Mechanic, and that's what it was about. It was about sort of the everyday handyman, the everyman who could work with his hands. And that's sort of the way that I remember my dad. Later on in my dad's life, he had some health problems that limited his mobility, and he was an avid motorcyclist, so that was something that he knew that he probably wouldn't be able to do much longer. So he decided he wanted to start looking at sports cars, convertibles and stuff. So I, of course, wanted to push him towards Mustangs. Unfortunately, I lost my dad on February 11th of 2015. And even though we didn't get to, buy the car together, or we can't share the car now, I still feel as if this car is shared, that it's our car. When I'm driving the car, when I'm experiencing the car, when I'm out on the road, a lot of times, it connects me to my dad, because cars and bikes and sort of that, speed and all that stuff was something that we shared. My dad, when I was a kid, I remember riding in his car, and he would, step on it on the highway, and we'd be going 100, 120 miles an hour. And we'd just be giggling. I actually purchased the car about a year to the day that he passed away. So it had some significance to me. So after I purchased the car, I drove it back through a snowstorm, and then I parked it in the garage at home where I grew up, the garage where I shared all those memories with my dad. So it was like, sort of like, it just felt extra special to bring it home and put it in the garage and sort of like share it with my dad, even though he wasn't there. I have a lot of dreams and goals in my life, and this was one of them. And it still is kind of one of those things where I have to pinch myself when I come out to this garage and I, you know, get in the driver's seat and take it out for a drive, because it's a dream. It's something that I've been thinking about since I was a kid, since I got into cars, since I saw the movie. And but that's not the whole dream. You know, the other part of the dream is to be able to share it with people, to share the experience of it, to teach, if I have kids, to teach them to drive it, to teach them to work on it, and through doing that, you know, teach them valuable lessons, like my dad taught me and my brother when we were kids in the garage. The lesson that I take away from being able to own this car and sort of attain the dream, and the lesson that my dad taught me, you know, to sort of not pass up a dream, to go after your dreams. That dreams that you have when you're a kid are not necessarily foolish, you know, that someday you could attain a dream that you have. So that's what this represents to me, is a childhood dream. And being able to achieve that, to pull the trigger on the Bullitt is pretty amazing.